Wait a minute. Ha! Ha! Ha!
Oh, yeah, I know, yeah.
I just realized
Wait.
Someone tell me how to kill myself. Someone tell me how to kill
Have
someone.
you seen me play this? I always get.
Yes, I have seen you play, and I have seen you feed.
Time to give them a show.
Hello everybody, I'm here to show you a off-meta build that I've never seen anyone do, but I've personally been doing it on Aurelion Sol since his launch in March 2016, which is on hit, Blood Razor, Aurelion Sol, Jungle. Now, I know it sounds crazy, but it actually makes some sense. But before I get into it, I do want to say that this is a build for fun. It's definitely not stronger than mid-AP Aurelion Sol. The only advantages over traditional Aurelion Sol with this build is, number one, in my opinion, it's more fun, and it might be more fun for some of you guys. Number two is that the early game is much better than traditional Aurelion Sol because you're not as dependent on mana, and you will have awesome ganks with your E. But besides that, mid-AP Aurelion Sol is definitely better, so I'm not saying in any way that this build is better than traditional Aurelion Sol. Okay, so here are the runes and masteries. All of them are pretty much self-explanatory except for CDR scaling blues. The reason we have that is so we can have lower cooldown on E to get off more ganks without building CDR in our items. I'm going to be playing this game in Flex Queue, and right now in Flex Queue I am Gold 5, so if you're wondering what rank this game's going to be played in, it's going to be being played in probably High Silver, Low Gold, MMR. So anyways, the reason on hit Aurelion Sol can work. Aurelion Sol is one of those mages where he scales harder off Magic Pen than ability power because majority of his damage is going to come from the base stats on his abilities rather than the AP scalings. So, my thought process is that, well, if you can still do a lot of damage on Aurelion Sol without AP, and Aurelion Sol is one of the few mages in the game where he can auto-attack and cast his spells at the same time, since the majority of his damage comes from the stars, and you can obviously auto-attack while the stars are rotating around you, so he is one of the few mages, if not the only mage, that can basic attack while he does his normal spell rotation. So I thought, why not make a build that takes advantage of that? Now the reason I started doing this is because when Aurelion Sol came out, I really loved the character, I loved the idea of the character, I loved his design, but I could not wrap my head around how to work his stars. Now I can, but back when he came out, I just didn't understand how it worked, and I was getting a little pissed off. So I realized that his auto-attack range and his W range is the same, and he can auto-attack while he Ws. And I like playing jungle, it's my main role, so I'm like, and what if I build Devourer Rageblade on Aurelion Sol? Because at the time, Devourer Rageblade was like the meta, the OP thing to do in jungle, and it worked. It worked. And I was like, holy shit, this is OP. And I feel like at the time, it actually was a bit stronger than AP Aurelion Sol, just because of how broken Devourer and Rageblade were at the time. And it's actually helped me learn to love and understand playing AP Aurelion Sol, because for the longest time I only played on hit Aurelion Sol, and then when I transitioned into AP, it was a lot easier because I already knew his kit, and I just applied some new thought patterns to how to attack, and I kind of just popped off on AP Aurelion Sol because I was kind of just handicapping myself that entire time, and then once I go into AP Aurelion Sol, I was like, yes, this is awesome. But I still love going back to on-hit Aurelion Sol, and I still think it's a great and really fun playstyle, so I'm going to show it off for you guys today, and just show you how great it can be. Now, I did say that AP Aurelion Sol mid is definitely the best way to utilize Aurelion Sol, and on-hit jungle is definitely inferior. But if you're planning to just play Aurelion Sol in jungle in general, and you're planning to go AP, I actually think the Blood Razor start and the Fervor Keystone, not so much the Fervor Keystone, but mostly the Blood Razor start, can actually be really, really helpful on Aurelion Sol for early pressure and ganks. If you have a bit of attack speed and runes, you have Blood Razor, and then you have your W going, and if you were to go Runic Echoes, the AP scaling on W isn't a lot, so the majority of the damage coming from W is coming from the base stats in general, so if you go to Blood Razor instead, you actually end up doing more overall early game damage than just building the Runic Echoes. So I think going Skirmisher Saber, Blood Razor for like a legitimate build if you're trying to like play Aurelion Sol jungle in ranked is great, and then you can go Hextech GPLA, and then full AP, and then sell the Blood Razor late game. I think that is a great way, and probably the most viable way to play Aurelion Sol jungle that not a lot of people think about, because who thinks of like Aurelion Sol building Blood Razor? It just seems so stupid, but then when you actually think about like how his stars work and that he doesn't scale super heavily off AP, it kind of makes sense. And for the early game, I do think it's more superior than Runic Echoes Aurelion Sol. So if you're actually wanting to play Aurelion Sol jungle in solo queue, I think building on hit is superior for the beginning and then turn into AP. Sorry, I didn't actually have the gameplay properly recording. That was something I was about to check, then the invade happened and I kind of forgot, so my bad. But not much happened, it was just a crazy invade that got a double kill, so I sincerely apologize for not having gameplay there. That was really stupid of me. But as you can see, this clear isn't super bad. If you already play Aurelion Sol, you know that moving in the direction of the stars is obviously gonna damage the camps a little more. As far as Celestial Expansion goes, I don't really activate it too much in the jungle. I usually do it on the start of engaging a camp and at the end when I'm running away from a camp and I know that the Celestial Expansion can last hit the camp as I'm running away. Like for example, I'm gonna go for a gank here, so as I'm running away I just Celestial Expansion right there. And that's the only really time I use it in the jungle, just because you can't really get in a proper position to use it. One camp that you can get in the proper position to use it on is Scuttle Crab, which really showcases the great combo between auto attacks and the stars, especially when we get more items. It will showcase that synergy very well. It actually works better than you'd think.
Count to jungle, count to jungle, count to jungle, count to jungle in your count.
No, Echo! Fuck off. Showing them my stars, dude. Actually, something that I just thought of now that I never really actually thought of in depth before is that you can kind of scare people with your stars by using Celestial Expansion when they can't actually see your model. So I was low on health there, and they probably would have engaged on me if they knew my health, but instead they just saw my stars, so they're like, oh fuck, I'm not going to engage on that. I know Aurelion's there. He might be full health. I can't really risk it. So that's actually kind of a cool mind game you can do right there that I actually didn't think of until now. Unfortunately, the best part of on-hit Aurelion Sol, I haven't been really able to showcase too much. This game is the early game. The problem with that is that Aurelion Sol's clear is very, very, very hard to do healthy, as you can probably see right now. Okay, I'm gonna actually try and go for a gank for once. Get a good E down. You want to E in a place where the bot lane won't see the little dot, so you kind of want to like E a bit further than you're actually gonna go. There we go. Pretty successful gank, if I do say so myself. Now let's try and get Vigar if we can, which we can't, because he's over the wall, and I already used my E. But we have an Echo that is also using his E. So we might be able to do this, if I can get a good tower dive off. Nope. Oh fuck. Orin sacrificed his life. We have to kill him now, dude. Okay, got him. He kind of wasted that ult. Okay, something that's very important with the ult on hit Aurelion Sol that is very different from the ult on AP Aurelion Sol is that you gotta use it for utility. Like on AP Aurelion Sol, you can use it for burst, a burst combo, and on this Aurelion Sol you can as well. But honestly, auto-attacking does more damage than casting the ult since there's a bit of a delay on it. So you really just want to use it to get people to fuck off you. With this Aurelion Sol in general, a good example I used when he first came out is that you kind of want to play him like a Kindred, where you're a marksman. You are basically playing the role as a marksman, so you need a position like a marksman, position a little more safely than you might on AP Aurelion Sol. Not really focus on poking with your stars, but just getting a good opportunity to go in and auto-attack without any repercussions. You also gotta use the stun a little differently. Not too differently, but you kind of want to, like, activate the Q and W to start off, and then just, like, auto-attack before the stun lands, and then you can kind of see it in the gameplay. I don't feel like I really need to explain it too much, but there's definitely, like, a shift in style and mentality that you have to take when playing this Aurelion Sol versus an AP Aurelion Sol. But now with this Blood Razor, you can see how I'm chunking these jungle camps, and this is one of the main reasons I like on-hit Aurelion Sol still to this day, especially for jungle, is that it just helps his weak clear so much. You saw how much I was struggling earlier. Now I'm still struggling a bit with health, but not nearly as much as I was. I feel like Krugs are definitely like the hardest camp for Aurelion Sol to deal with though. Just like on AP Aurelion Sol, you might not know this if you don't play Aurelion Sol, but you want to put a point into E at level 8, just so you have the extra range on E and cooldown, very important for ganking. And then you just put the rest of your points into Q to max that second, but for this champ in particular, you put 1 point into E at level 8. Okay, let's see if we can do this. I'm not gonna commit too hard if I can't get anything off. Luckily, I was able to. This team isn't too hard. I am playing on pretty lowish elo though. I think high silver for sure. And you can see here the chunk I'm giving to the Skull Crab with my auto attacks and just the base damage on my W. It also helps for taking Dragon pretty quickly, but I'm not going to do it now because it has a control ward on it. And it's just safer to do with teammates around in general. But Aurelion Sol can definitely solo it. You see, this is the best way to clear your camp. It's just rotating around it in the same position as the stars, and then auto-attacking every time. So yeah, it takes a bit of getting used to, but I can do it pretty much flawlessly now because I've been playing this since Aurelion Sol's launch. I can't clear this without aggroing the dragon, unfortunately. So I guess that is a little counter to on-hit Aurelion Sol if we ever start seeing on-hit Aurelion Sol played frequently, which I don't think we would. They know I'm clearing it now, but I'm just gonna try anyways. I don't think I'm gonna survive, though. I might be able to, like, smite it and get out, though. Nobody tries to contest it, but nope. Okay, whatever. Also, another great thing about on-hit Aurelion Sol that I kind of showcased here is that Aurelion Sol is really, really, really weak, typically, against melee champions because he does more damage when his stars are expanded, and when his stars are expanded, they're not going to hit any champion in melee range of him, and even his unexpanded stars sometimes don't hit melee champions, but since you can auto-attack, and you can auto attack in melee range, obviously, you're not completely screwed when you're in melee range on-hit Aurelion Sol. Definitely not something you want to happen, but not something that's extremely detrimental like it would be on AP Aurelion Sol, which is something I quite like. Now, for the next part of this build, it's really flex, and it's something I encourage you guys to try out for yourself and experiment with. Typically, I would go Berserker Screeps as my last attack speed item, and then just try to get AD items like Bloodthirster and Frozen Mallet and stuff. But for this build, since we have Auron, I'm gonna go Sorcerer's Shoes, and then I'm gonna try to build towards Trinity Force as my attack speed item. Normally, I wouldn't really build Trinity Force on Aurelion Sol because he doesn't really alternate through spells a lot to proc Sheen, and his base AD is obviously low because he's a mage. But I really want to utilize one of the Auron items, and I don't really think any other item would be super good for on-hit Aurelion Sol that Auron can provide, so I'm just going to go for that. Fuck. The Vigar stun fucks me completely, man. Holy shit! Oh, I'm alive! Holy shit, dude. That was very clutch. If I'm gonna be honest, I have a lot of assists here, and I did pull off some great ganks, but I feel... Maybe you guys would disagree in the comments if you've been paying attention to my gameplay more than I honestly have, which is kind of a bad thing because I'm actually playing the game, but I feel like I'm getting carried by my team. Now, a great thing that I just showcased there with Aurelion Sol is that I was and on normal Aurelion Sol I would kind of be fucked there, but since I'm going on hit, I could just do a lot of auto attack damage, and I just had enough mana only for alt, and I just used that instead, so it's a nice thing that on hit Aurelion Sol can do that AP Aurelion Sol can't. Also, now that nothing's going on and I don't really think I'm gonna have a chance to just showcase this off naturally because we're not losing, is that you get 10% movement speed when you move with this Q, so you can use your Q just for like kiting and getting away. If someone's trying to get on top of you and you don't really have your ult to push them away, you can use your Q to run away with the extra movement speed. So it's just a nice little Aurelion Sol tip in general that's not really attached to on hit, but can be very useful in that way, since with on hit it's extra important that you don't get caught out because you are playing the ADC playstyle. Okay, and now I'm buying Trinity Fusion. I'm actually pretty excited to see how this is gonna work out because Auron just came out and I haven't experienced all the upgraded items. This definitely seems to give just a little bump to every stat, but the extra movement speed on Aurelion Sol in particular actually is going to be really, really nice. And the extra mana too. Come on, Amumu, get off me, dude. Oh, this Amumu might be fucking me a little. I think I got him. Even without Echo, I think I got him there, but... Holy shit, dude. I love this build so much. This was a great game for on-hit Aurelion Sol. I feel like I did get carried, but I also feel like I contributed a lot with my stuns in particular. The great thing about on-hit Aurelion Sol is that he's like even more of a DPS character now, since you kind of attack faster than your stars would normally rotate on AP, but you also can, like, manipulate your movement speed a lot to kite people with your Q, and then also stun people with your Q, and get great ganks with your E. And it's overall a really fun champion and build that I definitely recommend trying out, especially the new Trinity Force with Auron. I think that worked really well, although normally I probably would go Bloodthirster or something, but that was really great with the extra movement speed. I'm definitely honoring Auron just because I could get the item off him. And yeah, that was a Gold 5 game. I think it was probably high silver because I was losing a lot, as you can see from my win rate in Flex. So yeah, but I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something new, which you probably have, because who the fuck plays on hit Aurelion Sol? But that was really fun, and let's just look at the final game stats. Now, I do think AP Aurelion Sol overall does more damage, but on hit has a lot of, like, nuances that make it better in the jungle, in my opinion, like being able to fight in melee range. Like, AP Aurelion Sol doesn't have that going for him at all. If you get caught out in the jungle and have to do a jungle skirmish, it's a lot easier. We have a good mix of... Even though we were building on hit and not a lot of AP, we still did majority magic damage. Anyways, that's about it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any feedback to give me about this video in any way, shape, or form, it'd be really appreciated, because I did do a lot of new things in this video and I kind of want to see your opinion so I know what to make in the future for you guys. Also, if you want to see the full game footage from the beginning game I showed in the montage at the beginning of the video, be sure to click the link on screen right now or in the description below to check it out. It was a pretty funny game in terms of commentary and outcome, so I do recommend checking that full thing out. Also, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe. And with that being said, I'll talk to you later. Bye.